he showed the.
Welcome to the front line of wrestling storytelling. This is the Sports Jedi Network channel, where the force of fandom meets the future of wrestling media. Live an unfiltered and exclusive one-on-one with the man behind the rising empire. Tuna, Wrestling and Anthem Sports, Carlos Silva.
What's going on, everybody? Wrong intro, but it's still effective. We're here to talk some wrestling. Let's go. It's a whole weekend of professional wrestling. We're going to react to Great American Bash, AEW All In, and, of course, Saturday night's main event. But first, let me say good afternoon to everyone on the audience and my partner, the PGH. Chris, what's going on?
What is up, man? Yeah, crazy day of wrestling last night. From 12 till 10 o'clock at night, there was nothing but pro wrestling. So we got a lot to talk about, the good, the bad, like always, our unbiased opinion, of course. And it's going to be a good review show here. We're not really going to go into the week. We're just going to go into the weekend of wrestling for today. Because at least, I don't know, unless there was anything good from Raw or whatever that's there to go over. But this weekend kind of took over my mind in terms of week in wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. We just want to give a quick note. We have new tag team champions in the Wyatt family. The Wyatts, they got the gold over Montez and Dawkins from the Street Profits. But let's go right in. Let's open up with All Elite Wrestling. They had their biggest show of the year in Texas. I guess when you do things in Texas, you do it big. Even the amount of hours you're gonna stay on watching this, it's a feel-good moment for All Elite Wrestling fans. For all you All Elite Wrestling fans, this was a great moment. You got to see your World Heavyweight title at the end of the show, the whole pomp and circumstances. But here's the one critique: it was very, very long. From 1 o'clock in the afternoon when they say go live for the pre-show, 2-hour buy-in post-show. Then, of course, this didn't finish until 9 o'clock in the evening. It's a little bit long. They could have cut a little bit here and there. I guess some people might say nitpicking, but when you're trying to do a live stream with other content, it's a tough one, Chris. This whole show, which match? Where do you want to start, or when you want to say overall the All In pay-per-view before we go into little details of what you like and of the matches?
Yeah, before I really go into the specifics, because again, this is a lot. I'm not going to go into the whole show. I'm really going to go into the things that I like and didn't like. But real quick before we get into any of that, overall, look, I thought it was. I enjoyed it. It was a good wrestling show for AEW. Them being their first American Stadium show, I thought, like me and Kev mentioned in the beginning, kind of before we went off on the air, because we had the footage showing in our backstage, the way they kind of set up the baseball field to make it kind of look cool with the sections. I thought it looked cool on TV, especially with the crowd at the end with Danielson, the whole stadium was up, the ballpark. It looked really cool on TV. So props to All Elite Wrestling for that. It's just what Kev said, man, too long. What about the people that wanted to watch Saturday night's main event that had to miss an hour of it to watch what everyone wanted to watch, and which was the main event? And again, they probably did that on purpose, but who knows? But it's way too long. It was way too long of a pay-per-view. There's some matches on this, like every pay-per-view, that could have been either on Collision or Dynamite. But overall, this felt like a wrestling pay-per-view, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the matches in the second half. I thought the first half was kind of boring. I don't know if it was those horrible pre-show 0 hours matches that I watched, or I just didn't like the way they started off with that 6-man tag team match after that. So the first kind of 4 matches were, and then they picked it up towards the end of the show, which I really liked. But we'll get into the specifics then. But overall, it looked good on TV. The crowd seemed really into it, and it was a good wrestling show, despite the negatives, which we'll get into. But it looked good. It was a good show.
You telling me you didn't like Shane Taylor Productions? What are they producing?
Promotions. Shane Taylor
Promotions. What kind of promotions they're promoting?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't think Shane Taylor. He's just a Collision guy.
They shouldn't be on there.
Who gets squashed. I didn't see him being. I didn't see why they needed to have this match at All In.
Who they wrestled the Sons of Texas? Who?
Yeah, this in the pre-show with the Von Erichs and Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, which I'll talk a little bit about them during that TNT title match. But
Now here and maybe it's nitpicking. I think that 0 hours should have been maybe 1, 2 matches just to get going, something hot.
no, you know they had to bring the boom.
I mean, by the way, but you know what? As much as we're complaining about the celebrities, WWE is going through that backlash right now with Jellyfish or Jelly Roll, Jelly Donut, whatever the hell the guy's name is. Now he's there going to wrestle with Logan Paul. We'll get to that as well. Celebrities are part of wrestling. We know that from WrestleMania 1, Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, yada, yada, yada. The most famous one of them all, Fulano de Tal. If you're a Hispanic, you know who Fulano de Tal is. He's one of the most famous one. With AJ, the Boom, the kids, I mean, what I got out of the whole thing was
Oh no.
Rocky Romero looked like a little person next to the kid from the cookies from the Boom family there. Boy, and another thing, those little kids, the little kids keep getting fatter, man. Stop eating the damn Costco hot dogs, man, and stop eating the cookies. Come on, I'm pretty sure Costco's got a nice tail. Come on, him too. Big Justice, Big Dick, whatever they want.
That's funny, man. The Boom family.
Boom family. That's all I do. Come on. I mean,
oh, that's funny, man. That's funny shit. Oh, that's funny. I mean, if you guys look, if you were on my stream yesterday, whether you're on the X on playback, I was saying the entire time this shit fucking sucks.
Can we send Tony D'Angelo over there with them?
The family, the Boom family.
Yeah, I'm a part of Boom teams.
They gotta add sticks. They gotta all up sticks.
But let's go right into it. No. All in all, it was all jokes aside, it was for AEW fans, for a fan base. I'm gonna say that's not my cup of coffee. All Elite Wrestling is not my cup of coffee. It's not my wrestling company. I don't like it. I'm gonna be totally about it, but I'm gonna give him its really great props and flowers. Was aesthetic wise, where the camera shots, the stadium looked really condensed. It looks really good. It looked like aesthetic wise, it felt like they were in Wembley again. For some reason, there was only 23,000 people there. I'm not gonna believe the bullshit that Tony Khan is saying. There was 30,000 there with walk up bullshit. Unless if he's counting stadium workers, it was 24 to 25,000. Let's go with that. But it looked like it was close to 70,000 that they had in Wembley, or 68,000, whatever. It felt that way. The way they shot it, the way they put, they did a nice job of looking good. It looked like a great stadium wrestling show, regardless of the fact if you're not an AEW fan or AEW hater or an AEW or wrestling fan. Period. It looked great aesthetically wise on television. I'm pretty sure everyone in the arena had fun. That looked great. It was a great showcase of professional wrestling for the company there. Was it the greatest? It hit it on cylinders. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's simple when you're watching any wrestling, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that I see it. Saturday Night's Main Event was terrible, but they won't tell you why it was terrible to them. So again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I thought the matches were great, were fun, were good. Like you said, the first half, a couple of the main card matches should have been left from here and there. Here's the one thing: you felt that down spiral when Adam Cole came out. It took the people in an emotion. They could have deflated the air out because he's kind of have concussion issues, according to reports. I don't know. He hadn't relinquished the title. They had that match. It kind of felt weird. Some people might agree or disagree with the result of the winner of Dustin Rhodes becoming the world champion. There's nothing wrong with that. I said, look, if you're getting the title on a 56-year-old wrestler, that's no problem. It wasn't that. It was, don't complain about the other company if Goldberg wins. We heard about 58-year-old wrestler for a world title. That's, you got to, have open mind at this age, at this point of the wrestling career of these guys. Dustin Rhodes winning was a good moment for him. You saw him break down in tears. Only thing that I was like, not to be negative, it's like, where was the pyro and the fireworks for him winning? There was none, Chris.
All right, so I'll say this about that whole TNT situation, because I'm not completely, on the negative side about Dustin Rhodes winning, but let me get to Adam Cole real quick, because what's going on with Adam Cole? I'm not gonna say too much because obviously we don't know. I had to actually turn my camera off after that speech, after I saw him, Roddy, and O'Reilly hug, because I love Adam Cole so freaking much, man. I love that guy. Love that guy. And he's a local guy. You know, he's from my area, so I hope everything's well with him. The only thing I will say for now, until obviously more stuff comes out, obviously at his terms, hopefully, I don't think it's an injury. I think something serious is going on. I think it's something medically. I don't think it's an injury. I don't think it's anything like that. I think something serious is wrong with Adam Cole. What? Again, don't know. It's not fair to speculate, but I think something a little more serious is going on here. With Adam Cole. I don't think it's just injury related stuff. I think something's going on. But as far as Dustin Rhodes winning the TNT championship, look, I still think they should have given it to Kyle Fletcher. That man has been chasing that title for the last 3 months. Hell, he was probably gonna win it against Adam Cole at All In. I don't know. The part of me doesn't think that, because he probably I think he would have won if that was the case. So I don't know. It's just with Dustin Rhodes, all respect to him. This was his third match in less than like 72 hours. He wrestled for Ring of Honor the day before, had a pre-show match, and then had this, and Sammy too. And all respect to that, because I even said, I was like, whoa, like this guy's going. Like he signed a new deal with AEW. Like he really wants to work. My only thing is, was he chasing the TNT title? If you wanted to give Dustin Rhodes a championship and have it be this big moment, like Kev said, maybe he would have got a pyro, this big moment about him, wouldn't you want to build that chase up? I'm not saying it has to be the world title, because you know that's set for the MJFs, the Ospreys, the Hangmans, all the Darbys, all that. But if you want to make that TNT title a little bit more relevant, I would have loved to see Kyle Fletcher win it and then a Dustin Rhodes chase. But at the end of the day, they had to do something here with the unfortunate circumstances of Adam Cole. They gave Dustin Rhodes his moment in Texas. I have nothing wrong with it. The only thing it was that part about Kyle Fletcher, about maybe a chase, a better build. Other than that, he got his moment in Texas after wrestling 3 matches in 72 hours. All respect to Dustin Rhodes. He means so much to a lot of people in the business. Means so much to a lot of people in that company. So I think he deserved his moment. So good job for Dustin Rhodes.
All right, I like what you said there, but I think they didn't anticipate the chase.
Right.
I know why Dustin didn't chase. They didn't anticipate that. That looked like it came out of left field with Adam Cole's injury.
That's why
like you said, something happened 48 hours, 24 hours. Something happened where I believe Collision was live.
They announced it during the pre-show that Adam Cole was going to not wrestle.
Collision was live Thursday, am I correct?
Yeah, I think so, from Texas.
Okay, so they did not announce that on Collision, so they didn't know that on Collision. Yeah. Nor they didn't know that on Friday. Maybe when they probably went through a physical with their performers prior to All In, and maybe they discovered something or result or test result, or according to some of the insiders are saying it's a concussion. Didn't pass a concussion protocol, whatever the case is. Some might think it's a speculation, something to do with Big Breaker. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, he was in some tears. There was some emotion. Even the wrestlers come out when you see his fellow competitors, Daniel Garcia on the top of the ramp, having that moment with him. Regardless of the fact, let's respect the performers' privacy to whatever it is. He let him go through it. Either he gets medically cleared, not just to get in the ring, to live a pain-free life. If it's something to do with concussions or illness, wrestling is the last thing in this kid's mind right now. Just get his life feeling healthy, not waking up with some pain or whatever he's going through. That's what or at least for me, I hope he does. That's me first. The wrestling, the square circle will always be there. Someone else's opportunities will always be there. First and foremost, for Adam Cole, get better, get healthy, and just be pain-free or illness-free, whatever's going on with you at the moment, first and foremost. Hopefully now with this team, I don't know if Dustin is going to have a long range as a champion. Let's you know what? That's the least of the situation right now, Chris. For Adam Cole going forward, I wish they would have gave him pyro, because you saw other wrestlers in the night when they came out, pyro for an entrance. Did you really need pyro for certain wrestlers? You couldn't give Dustin Rhodes some pyro at the moment, So that's just my little bit of a nitpicking. It might be nitpicking, ladies and gentlemen. It might be. I'm gonna be honest with you, but damn, if he just signed a 6-year deal with the company, these are Rhodes. Give him a little, could at least, but I digress. Let's talk about some other matches. What was your match what are the matches you want to talk about? Is it the Kenny Omega?
I want to talk about the Ospreay Swerve, okay, and Young Bucks match. Because look, I want to say this. I thought that the Young Bucks entrance was stupid. But the entrances with Ospreay and Swerve, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that. First off, to JoJo Offerman, why is she singing the everybody? Listen, people,
Chaka Khan,
that was Swerve's song in the Indies. That was Swerve Strickland. That is the song Swerve Strickland used to walk out to in the independent scene. So he had his good friend singing for her. Enough with the bullshit that you guys are. I'm not even going to say what people are saying online. Enough. It was a friend doing something for a friend. Stop with your BS conspiracies and all that crap I've seen. Anyway, with her. But the entrances, the Ospreay, the Pyro, all that, they did a good job making these entrances look cool. With the area, it made sense because, Assassin's Creed has that deal with Max. Will Ospreay's the aerial assassin. That's kind of the whole reason why those two are kind of working together. I love the kind of a tribute of what he did last year at All In with the ninjas coming out. He had the big pyro. I loved their entrances by Swerve and Hangman. Or Swerve and Ospreay, excuse me. Even the Young Bucks, even though I thought it was really long and stupid, it made sense. They're the founding fathers. It made sense. So the point is, I love the entrances off the back. Now, the criticisms of the match, it's gonna be the same as a usual. When you see these four competitors, like me and Kev said off air, no selling Canadian destroyers into a what did they call it? The hidden blade, into a hidden blade. That looks a little bit bad when it comes to the wrestling. I loved the sequence they did. That whole sequence was good until that Canadian destroyer into the hidden blade, because I was like, oh, you got to let that Canadian destroyer milk out a little bit. Like, it was a little bit too, but this other than that, I like that little sequence they did, because it I said this with Ospreay and Swerve when they had their match at the couple Dynamites ago. They didn't start out like hot flippy super kicks. They let that go on for the middle towards the end of the show. It didn't start with that right away. I thought this was one of the best tag team matches in this company, because please tell me, since FTR has doing nothing and we haven't seen the Guns and the Hurt Syndicates taking over, tell me when we've seen a meaningful tag team match. It sure as hell ain't with Jet Speed. It sure as heck ain't with the Hurt Syndicate. Who's having good tag team matches in AEW? We finally had a decent one for once. So I didn't, there was, again, some spots in the match I didn't like. I hate all the super kicks. That shit's annoying. When they have Ospreay hook up out here, just super kick after super kick after super kick. I can't stand that, because I get upset with certain people doing the chops repetitive. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I didn't like the super kicks. But overall, it was one of the better tag team matches that company's had, and I really enjoyed the entrances.
One of the running jokes that we have in our watch-alongs, we have an official counter of a super kicks, either for the Usos or any of the shows. That Okada,
my guys in the chat lost count.
One of the things that we had going on, the amount of super kicks, that tag team match had more super kicks than the whole Great American Bash put together. That one match did more super kicks than the whole fucking PLE for NXT. Just a little bit rough. Look, I'm gonna say this, being older gentleman, I used to love Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was one of the biggest no sellers. He would kick out everyone's finishers, Hulk up. As a kid, I ate that shit up. I was like, oh, as an adult now, watching it, I can understand why my grandfather got me into professional wrestling. But my father, I remember my dad and my other, they used to say that's fantasy. They used to use the F word, but not the fake word, the fantasy word. And now I understand why. Because Hogan, the selling of Hulk Hogan wasn't real. For us, it was like, no, he's hulking up. He's getting power. I know. I can see, but now it's being used too much when an Osprey or that. But to each his own. That's what makes professional wrestling. That's what everyone loves it. For some reason, it's called the Super Kick Party. No? Yes, I understand that. But that's like a crutch. We joke around. It's not that we don't hate it. We joke around with the Super Kick Party. We say that on NXT as well, Proto. NXT as well. They do, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, the Super Kick Party. Oh, that move is used so much. Yeah. No, it's not about the hate. See, this is the problem. People go into that tribalism. Oh, but the Usos does it. No, it's a thing that's going around in professional wrestling too much. The Super Kicks and the Canadian Destroyer. I can't take the Canadian Destroyer serious. It looks like a move that, you know what? Shit, you're bouncing over your head. You shouldn't be kicking out, period. That should be a finisher that should never be kicked out of, a Canadian Destroyer. But everybody does it. It's like a collar elbow tie-up with the Canadian Destroyer. The Super Kick is another one. Shawn Michaels will hit you with that Super Kick, lights out, over. Now everybody does it. Everybody and their mother does a Super Kick, overdone. But we can say that about the late drop. But my point was, that was the best tag team, like you said, Chris, in the company 2020 match. You're right. That was their best match. It was great. It was good. No problem with that. But now, one thing I did have an issue with the Bucks coming out. Why are you calling yourself the Boat? Because that's Natalia's gimmick. Stop. See, this is weird. Yeah. And then they're the first ones in the wrestlers. Oh, love wrestling. Stop the tribalism, but don't feed the marks with the tribalism shit. Why did you have to go say Boat then? You know that's Natalia, who's respected in the industry for years. Why? Sometimes the performers themselves, they get in the moment to wrap up the crowd. They forget that they're feeding into the tribalism themselves. That's the problem that happens when it comes. And then meanwhile, they're the first ones to go on social media. Oh, we love wrestling, love all the sports. We stop. The Bucks did not need to go there for Natalia. Yes, Natalia Neidhart is called the Boat, the best of all time. She's been saying that for how many, 3 years now, Chris, or maybe 5?
Since she had that little run in NXT with like Lola Vice, that Battleground around that time.
Actually,
like
Cora Jade.
That's yeah.
In 2.0,
right.
When she broke in 2.0, she's been saying she's the best of all time.
The reason why I could have thought the Young Bucks might have, it's because maybe they came out on an actual boat.
They came out on a boat. That's fine. That's great. But do you have to? Do you have to go there and insinuate fans? Let it go. Celebrate it. Let's have fun. Celebrate it. That's the one thing. All In was pretty good. Was very good. Your thoughts on the gauntlet match? Which one of the two gauntlet match you like? I like the women's.
I agree. I'll agree with you with the women's. I didn't think the men's one was bad. But we kind of knew going into it with MJF winning. But I liked it because MJF, he played that heel role where he was the number one, but you didn't see much of him. He took advantage of people's weaknesses, the double teams, all that. I really liked the men's one. I thought both of them were good. But the women's one,
oh yes.
Kev said this to me during my stream. Because he was popping in and out, doing his other stuff with the Great American Bash. And he told me, and I really agreed with it. He was like, I hope this match shows that this division isn't just Mercedes and Tony. Because
yes,
Megan Dane had a great performance. Queen Amadada looked great. I am shocked and happy that I popped. Go back and watch it. I popped when Athena won that gauntlet match because one, she has stated numerous of times if she's not on this All In card, like she'd cry, like she'd be devastated. Nobody expected her to win. Everybody expected her to be in it, but nobody expected her to really win. Again, getting those moments in your city, in your town, the place that you made your name. And I was really happy for Athena. But everybody looked great. Even the people that weren't involved in the match, like when Megan Bain would come out with Penelope Ford in the beginning because she was the second entry, or when Sky Blue would come out with, who did she come out with? Was it Julia Hart? She came out with Julia Hart,
And
and then
no, Julia.
and then Anna Jay came out with Tame Mello. That's why I got confused there. But even those ladies who were out, they made, it's a gauntlet match. It's really anything goes. So they made their presence, helping their, friend, whoever they were with. But they all looked good. That spot where, all the ladies come out with Megan Bain. It was good. I really enjoyed the match. And Chris Statlander looked great. I thought she was my pick. She was my pick, not just because she was the number one entry, but she's at the point where she should be on the in that level in the company with the women's world title scene, enough with like the TBS higher mid card. She needs to be up there. But Athena, I like it. My only question is now for her going forward is, what does she do with the Ring of Honor title? I'm sick and tired of these people in AEW coming out. Okada's gonna have like 3 different titles. Mercedes is going to have all these titles despite her still losing the women's title last night. I'm sick and tired of these people having multiple titles that ultimately don't mean jack crap. So that's my only thing with Athena. But I love that she won it, and I loved the women's gauntlet match.
Absolutely. With that women's gauntlet match, I love the way they set the tone. When you had Megan Bain, Statlander 1 and 2, face-to-face, that moment with those 2 big Glamazon women there, I was like, wow, that's a nice moment. You saw that there. So, the crowd in the arena on television looked phenomenal. Those 2 women being showcased 1 and 2. They're also conditioning ourselves. And I saw a proto mention about the AEW tag teams. You saw a lot of the women come out with a partner, like a Penelope Ford, like a Harley Cameron, like Anna Jay, so forth, that weren't in the matches, but they came out teasing or putting that seed out there. They're going to be women's tag team titles coming up in the near future for All Elite Wrestling. Hopefully, I said this here when the match was going. I said they showed that division is strong without Mercedes and Tony always hogging up the television time. Here's the thing that I don't have faith, All Elite Wrestling fans. I don't have faith in your owner to book the women strong or give them enough time. The 9:20 slot on Wednesdays is not enough for those talented women. And that's usually globbed up with Tony Storm or Mercedes. That's the problem. 1 slot for those women is not enough. No one watches Ring of Honor. Let's face it, no one's paying $9.99 for Ring of Honor because they're not strong. They're not being watched. I think Evolve gets more traction than Ring of Honor. I hate to say it. But Collision is okay. I don't know if Collision is drawing enough traction to put the women there. You could showcase some more women there, absolutely. But I don't know if it's going to be enough for viewers to grab into for storyline wise. I hope that the women they showed you, all those women that were there, could bring it. They all could bring it, but they have to have good storylines and they have to make it matter, or in their matches make the male fans want to see you more and gravitate more, which they did on that gauntlet match. Athena winning, and I asked this, and I asked this after she won, what makes a better match would you want to see? Athena versus Mercedes again, or would you like to see Tony Storm and Athena? And I know you mentioned I would like to see Tony Storm and Athena. Now we're getting that. Hopefully, I hope that they make a big, good, interesting build going forward for Athena and Tony Storm. For champions for respective brands, for Ring of Honor versus the AEW Women's Champion. Hopefully, they can build it strong here. If Athena were to pull it out and beat Tony Storm, you're making the next big superstar in the women's division in Athena. Also, she's coming into a contract year. Just keep an eye on that there as well. Hopefully, they learn their lesson from a Mariah May situation, contract coming up. The world title picture. This is the thing that and you know what? This is like copy and paste when it comes to Tony Khan. When there's a woman about to contract, he kind of dangles that carrot. The world title picture, face of the company for the division, and from Mariah May, she said, "I'm going to go to E. I'm not going to stay here. You offer more money, offer this, I'm gone." I don't know if he uses that as a bargaining chip with the women, or it just looks like it's a copy and paste. Like he does it again over and over again. Well, it's like history repeats itself when it comes to him and the way he just But again, it's still the right person won, in my opinion, when it came to Athena, because now you want to see Athena and Toni Storm. But honest with you, I do want to see Athena and Toni Storm, because Megan Bayne and Toni, we saw it already. They're a little redundant. Even Athena and Mercedes, we saw it already in that tournament. That was it's just, yeah, I'm glad that we're getting a fresh new matchup in Athena and Toni Storm. I hope and I know they're going to deliver. So you got to hope now, build it correctly. I don't want to see Athena sitting around and eating Cheetos or cheeseburgers or steaks or lasagna. I need to see a story where we're like, oh damn, make it feel like Athena is a real threat to end Toni Storm, and make a from timeless to tireless. That's what I want to see, Chris.
No, I agree. I think they could have a good feud. Tony's really good. It's kind of a little bit of babyface versus babyface. But
I disagree with this statement, though.
I think it's a little bit of babyface versus babyface. But they can make it work again. Tony's really good at the heel role. I think Athena could use that for her too, kind of because she hasn't been on AEW TV that much. Obviously, she had a great match with Mercedes. That was a really good match they had in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. But obviously, we know who she is. Everyone does. But to get her to Athena's a heel. Okay, I don't watch Ring of Honor, so if she's a heel, then never mind. From what I've seen, Athena seems to me like a baby face. But if you watch Ring of Honor,
well, it fooled me with all those people. It fooled me with all those people cheering for her.
It fools me on her interviews too. Fools me on her interviews too. She seems like so sweet and so nice when she talks. I didn't know, but I don't watch Ring of Honor, so I don't know. But it's gonna be a good.
But you know what, Chris? This is what I said about a few seconds ago. Build me a story where I know that Athena is the bona fide heel in this story between her and Toni Storm.
I agree.
That's up to now. It's up to the crowd. Now it's up to the creative to make Athena feel like the heel that you claim she is, and not get cheered by the fans. Because now we're gonna find out if she's really the heel against Toni Storm.
Yeah,
because everybody likes Toni.
She's in Texas. I know I get it. She was in Texas. I know heels get cheered in their hometown. A lot of heels get booed in their hometown as well. Cough, cough, Wheeler Yuta, if we're talking about AEW talent. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But no, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else before the main event if you want to get into.
No, let's get into since we're on the women's why do you people think she faced Thunder Rosa or a baby face? But Thunder Rosa is also Texan. You had two Texan ladies going at it, and I didn't see the match, so I didn't see who was cheered and booed. I had no interest or no desire to watch Ring of Honor or whatever their PLE. No disrespect. No disrespect. That there's no
disrespect. You like what you like. People say that about me. What I like. I'm not saying that. It's not enough people watch it for me to where it's like I know what's going. No one's posting about it. That's kind of what I mean. I'm talking about the overall.
There was no traction on that.
I don't see anything. That's what I'm saying. I know. Does that make sense? Like when I say that, like I don't see the commute. I don't see none of these people posting the clips like they would for the other shows. That's what I mean. Like I know people watch it, but who? I know obviously some people, but again, I would like to.
Like for instance, I watch Evolve. I don't review it no more as like I used to because I do too much. So I do watch Revolve, but I don't watch it. Ring of Honor is not the same level of TNA. Do not go there. No way. TNA is about to take over the second promo in the United States. Get out of here with that. I'm sorry. Ring of Honor, TNA is about to go to become the second top company in the United States. Ring of Honor is just right now.
Ring of Honor is it's the evolve of AEW.
It's the evolve of AEW. Yeah, it's just right now they don't
even know what to do with their Ring of Honor talent, so they bring them up to AEW.
also, here's the oxymoron, and no disrespect. Ring of Honor has a TV title with no TV deal. There's no television deal. You could say that TNA is better, but TNA is for superior better. TNA is a company that feeds NXT development.
It's not a comparison. It's
not a comparison. Have you seen what they did in the UBS Arena? Have you seen what they've been doing in their TV market buying? You know, they're in a TNA's on another level. That they're right now, they're the top 3 North American company in the United States, and they're about to go and sign a lucrative deal with the television deal. They're about to become number 2. They're about to fill up. TNA absolutely not will become a number 2 company. You just don't want to hear that. They might not have the deepest pockets of Tony Khan, but the way they're run, the way they're being executed, and the way they're doing business, they're going to be there in number 2. Mark my words, they're going to be the number 2.
I've never heard anybody say, "Yo, let's go watch that Ring of Honor show this weekend." That's just me, brother. I've never. You see nobody. You see when TNA has all their pay-per-view, you see everybody posting about it. Please tell me if you've seen any big IWC account post about Ring of Honor when they have their shows. I don't see it.
TNA gets a lot of traction. They trend number 1 on Thursdays, which that's the same night that Ring of Honor show comes on. You don't even see them sniffing in the top 10 in trendy. The one thing that hurts TNA, that's again, we said it ourselves. The recording of the episodic television, they run 3 weeks recorded in the same area, which the president of the company on our channel told us they're looking for a TV to go weekly live. So once that goes live, they're going to climb up in the interest, the buying rights, the pay-per-views.
They'll see it.
Watch, you'll see it. Yeah.
We'll see it. Let's talk about Tony.
WWE. The WWE fan base with TNA. No. Look at their storyline. We're gonna disagree to disagree because it's a celebration about pro wrestling. It's not about TNA versus AEW. But it seems like you guys hit a nerve with TNA. Climbing on your backs. So we'll move on here. Let's talk about the All In because at the end of the day, you're not gonna change my thoughts what I think of TNA. So at the end of the day, let's talk about something that it's not gonna change my thought. The Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed and their patriarchy. This was like
this should have been. I thought you were gonna go.
This should have been the main event of Dynamite 300, not on the All In. The Hurt. Listen, you guys were going excited. You guys were rubbing your nipples, putting a finger up your asses about the Hurt Syndicate going to All Elite Wrestling. They've been nothing but boring. They're boring. They're boring. MJF is the only thing that's really cool. Again, they could kick ass, yes, but they're boring. That's it. Benjamin, boring. Ashley, boring. MVP, burning bridges. They're boring. I'm sorry.
We hurt people. That's all they got.
The one thing that saved that whole thing, I'll be honest with you, the turning of at the end of the match. We knew it was going to happen. I always say this. Even if it's predictable, at least it was entertaining, the predictability. I like the end. I like that with Cope coming out, Adam Copeland. He didn't hug him. He didn't immediately say, I'm here to be a hero. He said, go find yourself. Loved it. Then you know what that does? Now you have to tune into Wednesday. You know what? That's the wrong. PGA Chris is the one that loves AEW. I'm the one that don't like AEW, Proto. I'm gonna tell you that's not my cup of coffee. So you're seeing something totally wrong.
Yeah, you're.
As a matter of fact,
totally different, brother.
Here's a little bit of an insight. We almost lost an opportunity to interview someone because of the AEW hat. That's how, and because Chris wore. Just to give a little bit of an insight, he is a big AEW fan. I am not. But that's what makes the balance.
You know the thing about me is I'm not fucking biased or delusional.
But I respect those men and women in the ring.
And a lot of these AEW sickos. I'm not delusional. I'm not biased, and I'm gonna tell you how I feel. But I've been watching.
I respect those men and women.
I've been watching AEW since the very first Double or Nothing. So don't come in here saying that I hate AEW. Thank you.
I don't like the way they book things or their storylines where they don't have it. But those men and women, that was a hard hitting match. Let's go back to that match that I was talking about. That was a hard hitting match. Those, that spot where Benjamin suplexed the shit out of Bailey out of the ring, that was awesome.
That was cool.
But
Mike Bailey did a good job doing the backflip and landing. Yep.
That's that was awesome. Here's the one thing I was telling Chris. Hurt Syndicate, who's going to beat them? It's not going to be Jet Speed wasn't going to do it. You need someone with pedigree, like an Edge and Christian, to get together. Edge is a former world champion in the WWE, decorated. Christian, former Intercontinental, former TNA world champion. He's got a pedigree. Those guys together could neutralize a Hurt Syndicate, a Bobby Lashley, and a Shelton Benjamin. That's more realistic. But here it is, Chris. We need them to build together. Not just, today we're going to team up. Let's go. Hey. No. I don't think so. I don't think that's the way to build it. They got to build it strong. They got to build it. Give me Christian and Edge, how they're going to build it together as a tag team to go up against and take away from the Hurt Syndicate. That's what I'm talking about when I mean no. I want to see that build.
Yeah,
that build.
And they did, I think they did a good job of Edge, like I said, going out there and going find yourself. And I said this in the beginning because this is going to, for weeks, hopefully we can see a build where it's like we want to see Adam, like Christian's like, okay, like I messed up, like let's do like whatever. Hopefully it's somewhere where it's like they build up them reuniting as both on the same team, both as friends, and then they build up the match. Like I think that, you know what I'm saying? I think they can do a 2-in-1 here where they build up their friendship reuniting and then they build up themselves chasing at All Out in Toronto.
I agree with you, and especially that's what it's pointing to in Toronto, that together. But it's up to them on Wednesdays and sometimes Saturdays to tell that story of Christian finding himself. Christian finding himself. Hopefully they could tell and give enough time there. Now I ask this: what happens to Sabin? What happens to Wayne? They'll
have a match. They'll build up the match with Nick Wayne and Sabin versus them two before, like on the road to All Out type of thing. They'll build that for that, which makes perfect sense. So I wouldn't mind seeing it like on a Dynamite special or anywhere. But that's something they got to do before they do that, and it makes perfect sense.
Do they stay under the umbrella of Stokely half the way with FTR? What happens after that's done? That's my question. I hope it does. And listen, you have to pull the trigger. This is the right creative direction when it comes to this storyline. It is the creative direction that run its course. Christian cannot stay all the time talking about a dead father. It was cool. It was like, the shock him out. It starts getting a little redundant. That was the right course that they went to. You're more invested on them, but let's go.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's still, this could be a little bit of the revamp of the tag team division a little bit, because you have FTR in there. I think one of those three teams, whether it's obviously not Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne, Adam Cole, but I feel like one of those three tag teams needs the tag team titles right now for it to be. And again, the Guns came back last night too, and there's potential.
I didn't see that.
How do
you feel about that?
I popped because the crowd got during the gauntlet match because Juice Robinson. They were coming out to save Juice Robinson, which welcome back Juice. Him and Jay are actually my favorite tag team in AEW, but they're not a tag team right now. But anyway, they came out and they look ready to go. So if they can involve them too, I think Edge and Christian reuniting as a tag team could rebuild that tag team division up a little bit.
I hope so. They need it. The Hurt Syndicate needs people to breathe down their throats. All right, they dominated. Now they need someone to breathe down their throat, Chris. That's all I'm saying there. Yep. I like where they go. Where does it go? Look, if that means Mother Wayne has to be no longer a character anymore, unfortunately, hey, that's the business. You know what? You're not a wrestler. That was cool. If she has, because you have Stokely Hathaway. She didn't bring anything on the microphone anyway. You got Stokely.
The whole thing was just sitting behind Christian. Yeah, insinuating that there. Yeah, so it's let's hope that they could
breathe down their necks going forward here. Let's talk about the women's AEW women's title. I thought that match was really good. I'm gonna give you my thoughts. Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné. The right person won, which I was shocked. I don't know if they did that to be spiteful with all the internet beef wars about who has creative control, who doesn't have creative control, yada yada. Who cares? The match was extremely entertaining. There was a spot there where it's wrestling, it's hot, it's humid, where the power driver thought that Mercedes slipped from Tony. All in all, they told the story, the shock and all, the investment on the match. I thought the right person went over. Because it doesn't pigeonhole the division. You still have 2 titles where Mercedes, could go over. The next person that beats Tony Storm, hopefully it's Athena. Now you made another female superstar. I liked it, Chris. I thought this match was good. I can't see any
words out of my mouth. I can't say it better. The right person won. You still have the 2 titles. You still have your quote unquote mid card title. Mercedes can still, have a meaningful feud with Statlander, somebody down the line. Somebody who really, had a good showing at the Gauntlet. I like it. Nothing much to add on there. Well said.
No, because you could say, "Oh, what's next?" Well, what's next is for Mercedes. Who could beat her? Yep. Who could take that title away from Mercedes? She's looks like. But now, if you're a female in that Gauntlet match, the armor has been beaten down a little bit. You know what? There is a prototype. Or there is a way of beating Mercedes. She's not unbeatable. There's a way of beating her. So now it gives hope to those women. New hope arrives for Tony and also for Tony Storm. She just beat the best of the best. Now it's Atita's turn. So I definitely can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see what's next with the women's division.
Yes, sir.
Give me a minute, a second there. Let's go right into the Okada. This was now. I was like, why didn't they put Mercedes and Tony co-main event and then switch? You know what? It's cool. What are your thoughts there between Kusuke Okada versus Kenny Omega? What's your thought on that match?
As somebody who's seen their matches in the past, when they were happening in 2018, 2019, obviously this isn't gonna live up to that expectation. First match in the States, I thought it was okay. It wasn't as good as people might have thought it was gonna be. I think the build kind of didn't feel, I don't know, with Okada not being there for 2 weeks and the Don Callis family kind of getting involved when Okada's not really a part. Like, the build was kind of, they tried spending their time trying to make this feel like the main event. I don't know, something about the match just it didn't deliver to me right away. It was slow. I liked Okada hitting some of the V triggers, but even his V triggers looked a little sloppy. I remember Okada was on the ropes like this, and Kenny Omega tried to hit a V trigger and hit him in his side and didn't even touch his head. So there were little spots that were that could have looked a little bit better, but it wasn't bad. And I agree. Okada was the right choice. I don't think Kenny really needed this match. I don't know if he's gonna take a break. I don't really know what that's going on. I'm not gonna get into that. But result wise, yeah, you're building up essentially Okada. Look, Tony Khan didn't pay Okada all this money for him to go out there, win a Continental Classic, and say bitch. No, you got to do something more with him. You got to make people feel. I'm not personally saying this, but I know a lot of people, people that I know that do say this. They want to see the Okada that was in New Japan. They want to see that old Okada. They want to see that style. Obviously these wrestlers are getting older. They've taken some crazy bumps, all that stuff. But
yes.
It's the energy and the passion has not been there because he has not had meaningful matches. When you have meaningful matches like this, you're gonna get these older talent. You're gonna get the best out of them. But this wasn't. Again, this was good, but it wasn't obviously as great as their previous matches. But I personally thought this shouldn't have been the co-main event. I would have liked. I'm not being picky about it, but I thought the Mercedes match should have been the co-main event. But they wanted to milk this out.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? We knew this match was going to be long, and they wanted to milk it out. So.
Okay. No, I got you. Give me a minute. Let me give you my thoughts, and then we'll have Mets in for the Omega Okada. I'm gonna give him his thoughts in here. He's gonna join us for the AEW portion of the program, and we'll go on to WWE. I wanted to hear his thoughts there because we got hopefully it's not a long show today. We got to go a little quick rapid fire. Here's the one thing I want to say about the Omega Okada. I didn't see any of those matches. You guys say what? I didn't see any of the previous matches whatsoever. This is the first time I saw them wrestle each other. I'm not going to have no criticism or complaints. I know they're more older wrestlers. Only complaint I'm going to say, it could have shaved about 15 to 20 minutes of the match. They could have sold the story. They to me, I felt that they went around the whole entire block, the neighborhood, where they could have went across the street. They didn't need to be a 5-minute match. It could have been at least a 15 to 17-minute match. They could have got all their hits in, kept it there. I thought Kota Ibushi was going to be some type of someone in there to interfere, but they didn't. Universal, what's going on? But let me bring in Mets to give you his thoughts real quick. Mets is joining us here.
Hey,
let me bring it in. What's going on, man? How are you? How's you doing?
Good.
What up, brother?
I will agree with PGH. Out of the 5 Okada Omega matches, and yes, I have seen each of the previous 4 like he has, this one, without question, was arguably the weakest out of the bunch. But when you consider that Omega has spent the best part of 2 years on the shelf, mostly get 2 feet of his small intestine surgically extracted to save his life, and the fact that, in my view, had AEW not come to fruition, and Kenny, the Bucks, Hangman, and Cody had left New Japan and Ring of Honor by proxy in late 2018, early 2019, we could have gotten this match at the G1 Supercard in 19, and Omega and Okada would have cemented the feud that way. Instead, we got stuck waiting almost roughly 7 or 8 years for this match. And for me, it was just good, but not GOAT.
Like you said, Mets, as somebody who's seen the previous matches, I agree.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad. Again, it's not saying that it was terrible or bad. No, don't misinterpret. We didn't say it was terrible or bad. It was a little long. They could have gotten more, and I think the hype was a little more over than what we actually got. But I respect those gentlemen in the ring at that age, doing that one more time. If they're on their back 9 of their careers, you know what? It's the same thing as John Cena and CM Punk at Saudi. It wasn't terrible. They did for their age and where they were at in their career. It was entertaining. That's all. You could nitpick that match well, and you could nitpick this one. But at the end of the day, were you guys entertained? Yes, absolutely. So I like that. Mets, go ahead.
That being said, I am getting sick of quite a few factors in AEW's booking, which makes me question Tony Khan's integrity as an owner. 1, the constant need to give milk heel title reigns for as long as they're worth when people just want to are just getting sick of it and want these belts off these individuals. Case in point, Athena has been too long the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. And we all know that with the loss by Mercedes and her win in the gauntlet, as much as I would have preferred to have Mercedes win the AEW Women's World title, I get why they didn't. So maybe she finally gets that nasty knock of karma. That Athena gets that nasty knock of karma done to her ego at All Out, which leads to Billy Stark's Tony Khan finally getting his head out of his ass, i.e. finally deciding that Final Battle 2025 at the latest, he finally gets that belt off Athena and puts it back on the woman who's basically puts it on the belt that twice he's refused to do it for, that being Billy Starks. And let's just carry this complaint over to our main event. Hangman Page versus Jon Moxley, Texas Death. We all know that on paper the Death Rider angle was interesting, but it began to get incredibly redundant. As bad, if not debatably worse, than how Roman Reigns' reign of terror went during COVID-era wrestling and after it. Essentially, that's accusing Tony of plagiarism with the way it played out. Great match, but still, you basically copycat what the WWE did at WrestleMania last year.
Okay. Here's one thing I'm going to say about the Death Riders. No one liked that story because John Moxley, he kind of teased that like they were changing the company. They were taking over the company. They were changing what AEW was. I say this again. I think they counted their chickens before it hatched. I think everyone thought that Shane McMahon was going to be part of this Death Rider story. And since he never came to the company, never happened, they didn't want to look like egg on their face. So they went through it. Now, the fact that I think that's where it went, and they kept going with this, where they didn't know how to get the hell out of that. It was supposed to be Darby, but Darby wanted to climb Everest. We all know the whole history. But at the end of the day, did you feel as an AEW fan or a wrestling fan, did they get back on track to the way the company began, to their mission statement? You know, you've got now Hangman, your second ever AEW World Champion, back on top. You also have got Maxwell Jacob Freeman with a contract to try to get his Triple B back. You've got Toni Storm, one of your decorative women, who let's face it, AEW build her on. You got Dustin Rhodes as your TNA champion. A lot of the feel good TNT. To me it could be PBS. So all I care. What do you think? Did the feeling get restored for you guys in AEW, or they still got a lot to work with?
Still have a ways to go. I mean, kayfabe stripping the Young Bucks of their status as EVP, fine. It basically forces them to work their way back from the ground up and forces them to eat a crow-sized chunk of humble pie. Moxley's lost. Now he is ripe for the kill. And at All Out, I think that's what Darby's going to do to him. Flat out kill him.
All right. So that's how you guys feeling now.
MJF, he could catch in his title shot anytime he wants, right?
Yes.
Or at the soonest, Forbidden Door. At the latest, I'll give him till All Out to cash in on Hangman. This is going to be very transitionary for Cowboy crap.
I think the feeling in AEW is a little restored. I like where they're going, because now it feels like the talent that should be on top of the card is back on the card, because you have Hangman, he's your world champion. Darby's back, and then you have MJF having the gauntlet, the contract, and then you still have Swerve and Ospreay that are going to fit up there. Because again, a lot of people, kind of thought this was Ospreay's to win. People think Forbidden Door is his to win. Swerve's definitely due for another championship run. The women seems like they're going on track. I mean, from what it seems like, yeah, it seems like they have the pieces right in front of them to restore the feeling, to book good shows. Not that they're not, but to make things better. They have it in the palm of their hands right now, with all of their talent being at the top where they need to be.
But isn't the caveat or the rumor I've been hearing that Ospreay's not challenging for the AEW title at Forbidden Door? He's going after the IWGP World title and Zack Sabre Jr.?
I did not hear that. But again, with the Forbidden Door being the way it is, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I know last year at the Forbidden Door, we did see Swerve and Ospreay, so it wouldn't be unusual for two AEW talent to be in the main event or have a big match at that show. But I'm not counting that out, Mets. I'm not
just
counting
saying
that out.
It makes sense as to why back at the end of just a few weeks ago, they took the belt off Goto.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. And again, I think the main event, I thought the main event was good. I know we haven't really talked about that before we get into the WWE stuff, because we've been talking about it for an hour. But with the main event, I really enjoyed it. The WWE Championship or the AEW Championships back on TV, and Darby's back. I love how he came up from the Raptors. They played the clip of doing it from Mount Everest. Sting, yeah, it was a little Sting. No, I liked it. I liked it. The main event is what we expected, and I like that. Like Kev said, I think the feeling is restored in AEW. They have it right there. And the last thing I'll say about AEW is let's hope and pray that they have a really, really good follow-up show on Dynamite, which is 50-50.
Got that right. I'll agree to that. On order,
fair.
All right in the world for now in AEW.
Yep.
But you all know how much
and
Tony. You first, Kevin.
That's what I was going to say, because I know Proto wants to say if that was enough, as Tony Khan done enough for me. First and foremost, I'm gonna say this again, and I'll say it 1,000 times. AEW is not my show. It's not my cup of coffee. I don't watch it. I review it because Chris, out of respect for Chris, it's wrestling for the performers. I don't expect me to sit there and watch on a Wednesday this show. It's not for me. But my question is, I'm hearing you guys complaining in the IWC and all the complaining about the 3 letters AEW, the same complaints for years and years and years about it. That's why I asked: is the story or the feeling for All Elite Wrestling restored to you guys? You know, is it how do I know the story? How would you know stories? Because I have a partner who reviews it here with me, and he tells me the stories. That's why.
Hi.
I mean, now I see why JD from New York tells you guys and curses at you guys, because you take people to that point. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tell you, I know what's going on with the whole company. I don't need to sit there and invest 8 hours of watching it, because I could tell what's going on by the complaints and just seeing the highlights. It's the same thing. Women at 9:20, stop me, like CM Punk says, stop me when I'm wrong. The women's match is always at 9:20. You got the Beast Mortos main eventing your shows for the last 3 weeks. People have creative control. Stop me when I'm lying. My point is, when it comes to to All Elite Wrestling, do you have faith in your owner to book a strong follow-up on Wednesdays? Because history repeats itself. They do great pay-per-views. Come episodic weekly television, it goes nowhere.
Look, as an AEW fan that's been watching this since 2019, I'm sorry, I have to be honest. That's been the case over the last couple of years. They have a phenomenal pay-per-view, and their AEW and the Dynamite after that just does not follow up.
I haven't watched AEW since 2021, to be honest, and that's only because the app I was using got shut down for violations of, get this, pirating cricket games.
Well, that's another issue for another day. But my point is, has anything changed? Are we stop us when we're lying when we say about the criticism to the company?
No, that's what I said.
You could criticize me for not watching it. That's fine with me.
They need a guy
because I could tell you all the storylines that's happening with All Elite Wrestling without even watching it. I told this guy and if you obviously you don't listen to my program weekly anyway, because you know that I've been, the way we break it down, we you know that we know what's going on with the gist. We're not faking the funk or making things up or wishing about. We're not having pregnant pigeons. No. We're actually giving you what's going on in the storyline wise. So maybe you should tune in more and check us out more before you make those statements. But we'll move on from you there. We'll go into, all in all, this was a route. At the end of the day, it's not going to take away how All Elite Wrestling's AEW All In was good. Very good, a little too long. It has its pros and cons. It had its pros and cons. Bell to bell, the All Elite Wrestling fans got what they wanted. A feel-good ending. They got $49.99 of 8 hours of wrestling. It was good. Very good. And then, you know what? With a lot of room to improve. That's the way I took it. Now, if you're telling me that's hating, I don't know. You're not. Then I'm sorry. Then you must go listen to someone different when it comes to your AEW takes. This is we're talking about whole wrestling in general, but all in all, for a person that really don't like the cup of coffee that's called All Elite Wrestling, I thought it was really good. That's just my take on it. So let's go into NXT Great American Bash. Now, Great American Bash was at the same time as All Elite Wrestling. Counter programming. I thought the show was very good, very decent. The matches were short. With card wise, the performers came in. They told their story. I'm going to start off with your thought, Mets. I'm pretty sure. I know if you didn't watch it, that's fine, because if you were invested in All Elite Wrestling.
Actually, I did watch the Bash. I actually did watch the Bash. And mostly because I'm not going to invest 8 hours in a wrestling program because Tony Khan is more about quantity over quality. which is another gripe with AEW. But regardless, the Bash was pretty good. I mean, there were some endings that caught me off guard. I mean, with how much of a bruiser Jasper Troy has been, I didn't expect Javon Evans to topple him. I mean, even though I was kind of expecting All Ego to beat Ricky Saints, I thought he'd do it with the help of the Vanity Project, not do it on his own. The Women's North American title match was a bit of a odd choice to let Soul retain instead of giving it to Izzy. I think it should have gone to Izzy.
I agree with you on that.
Because basically for me, Soul's not really going anywhere with this title, and I'm still waiting for Zarya to turn on her. And then the Briggs, the Inamore versus Femi thing, Briggs is really showing his true colors that he's not Inamore's friend if he's willing to do this. And especially when you consider that Inamura is a Noah Dojo trainee. He's built on and Japanese are built strictly on the tenets of Bushido, despite the fact that samurai and Inamura's background is in sumo. But the point still applies that Briggs is just sticking his nose where it doesn't need to be. I could see at Heatwave, Briggs going for the title only to try to take a shortcut, and Inamura basically saying no, costing him the match against Femi, and then Briggs, in a bit of rage, snaps on Inamura. I mean, if they're going to pull the trigger on this heel turn for Briggs, they got to do it by or at Heatwave. Wave at the end of the month.
Okay.
As for the tag match, we all know this is a false sense of momentum. I've got a gut feeling that tonight JC's retaining against Jordan.
I had that feeling too, Mets.
Which then sets up, JC taking both the NXT Women's titles and the TNA Knockouts titles at Slammiversary. Which leads to her basically running amok on both brands, kind of like how Trick has been doing since he's been holding the TNA title hostage. And then there's the question of Dark State being in Trick Williams' pocket.
We've been saying this for months, by the way.
You have?
We have a guy named Chef. He's been saying that since the Dark States happened. Right, Kev? Kev has been saying that Trick Williams is a part of. We have a guy who's been saying that they're connected to each other. It kind of went away
from the
very very beginning. We've caught that on. But go ahead, Mets, because I think that's where we're gonna see that happen, play out, maybe at Slammiversary or something.
I mean, in all honesty, if it's similar to how the whole origin of the Shield was, where they were basically nothing more than attack dogs for CM Punk at the tail end of his title reign. Back in 2012, end of 2012, start of 2013, it would make sense. But on the other hand, it just doesn't really fit for me. I mean, when you look at the Shield, when they first formed, what were they? A group of SWAT commandos, right? At least that's how the gimmick was assessed, right? They were basically like a SWAT
They were
team.
protection.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hired guns. Hired protection. Darkseid, on the other hand, acts more like a terrorist unit than anything else. That's with the way they act. Maybe they're all paid off by the highest bidder. And in this case, it could either be Trick, High Rise, or First Class. But given that First Class is going to be busy next week in a fatal four-way for the tag titles, they're off the suspect list. So it has to be Trick, who may have them in their pockets, them in his pocket to help him take down Santana and Hendry at Slammiversary.
That's what I think. That's kind of where I was getting on that too, because if they've been coming out and sometimes it makes it seem like they're not with Trick, but I think that's where the reveal
and
might.
If this
might
Tuesday's six-man proves the point that they are in Trick's pocket, Ava and the guy who runs TNA has to do something to put these dogs in a kennel.
No, I think we'll get to Great American Bash when I want to rebuttal to that state. I think what's going to happen here at Slammiversary, because we did have Carlos Silver on our show. As of right now, on the Slammiversary card, no Matt Cardona. He said Cardona is going to be at the arena at Long Island, where, case in point, they beat up Cardona. I think Cardona is going to get reinforcement. He asked the system to come together. I think this is where the system, Cardona, they're going to rally to try to keep Dark State out of the arena, out from interfering in the crowd in that triple threat match. But we'll get to that when that comes for anniversary. Just wanted to throw that out there. Keep an eye on that. We'll see. Hopefully, I thought Trick aligned himself for First Class, which kind of makes sense with AJ Francis and Casey Navarro. But but the Dark State stuff makes a little sense. For Great American Bash, I did say while the watch along was going, I thought the match with Uemura and Obafemi, I didn't like it for the PLE. I thought it felt like a glorified CW Tuesday night match for a main event. I didn't like it, but they got me back into it, because after that backstage in the back where Briggs just losing control and that now they're going and projected that and it can invent. Yeah, they expanded the storyline. Now got me more invested. They pulled me in. Well, when that match happened, I was like, oh, why here on the PLE? I'm like, damn, Obafemi deserves better. But I like that they turned it back with story. They invested me into the story. The in-ring at that moment didn't really hit home for me, but they got me back. So I got to give kudos to the WWE writers and storytellers and the performers, Briggs, Obafemi, and Uemura, to get me back into that. I thought, I'm agree with you, Mets. I thought Izzy Dane should have beaten So Ruka there, a slip out, a mistake, or whatever the case is, the new champion. And then tonight, when they lose that gauntlet, you have Zarya, boom, turn on her, and then you're off and running Zarya versus Ruka. But I've been saying that since freaking January, because I think Zarya's wasting, they're wasting Zarya's time in NXT, just having out there and smile and being in the corner, either, because she came in here from Australia with a lot of pomp and circumstances, along with when they brought in Julia and Stephanie Becker. Oh, wait a minute, you haven't seen Zarya yet. You go, oh my goodness, and Zarya has been underwhelming until this point. She looks, her paint, her look, she's the damn heel. Make her the heel already. So Ruka's loved. They love Ruka. Go, pull the trigger already. Go, let's get a feud between those two ladies already, because this friendship, this lollipop friendship, it's cute, but it's not going anywhere right now. It's not. You're losing me. You're starting to lose me. Who cares with them? You're trying to get into that chase you area, and I don't want that, because then it's hard to get back out of it. I just thought, hopefully tonight we get something with those ladies going forward. Again, Zarya should be the main heel who should be breathing on the neck of Jordynne Grace. They should be great, and up and rising into that upper women's world title picture. That's just me, and I'm sticking with my guns with that there. Javon Evans versus Jasper Troy. The right person won. I like how they got to the end with the roller finish there, because Javon Evans has experienced more than Jasper Troy. But here's when I said on that watch along, I can't. Now Jasper has to go on a tirade of beating opponents. Don't put him into the top heavy where he's got to take losses, because then it's going to feel like a jobber or LFG guy can't get over, because he is a future of that men's division, but not quite yet. You got to now go out there and squash and beat wrestlers up where he starts building himself up, where, I'm not going to be honest I'm not going to lie to you. I think he wins the Iron Survivor. And I'm saying it now. We're in July. Iron Survivor's in December. Jasper Troy wins the Iron Survivor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it from now. I loved it. Chris, your thoughts here? I got some more matches, but I want to get you in. Quiet.
No, yeah, I agree with what you said about Jasper Troy. He needs to get some definitely wins under his belt. They kind of threw him in right away into like the main world title scene, and they kind of build up that Olympic gold medal girl that won it from the beginning. So it's kind of, I feel like they see different directions in their LFG talent, but I agree. I think Jasper Troy, I thought he should have obviously built his way up so he wouldn't have had that loss, but it's good for him that he gets that big exposure on these big matches, big PLEs like that, and then when they build him back up, it'll be natural to him to go out there and perform. So I liked him just being out there in the big show. That's good for
Sure.
Jasper Troy. But like
I
you
think-
said, he needs to get some wins under his belt and build it back up. So when he does have a match against Oba, whoever's champion at the time, there's a realistic possibility of him winning.
True.
And I'm glad you mentioned about Tyra May Steele. I've seen a lot of reports on the IWC, people complaining about Tyra May Steele. She's uninvolved, got demoted, she's not good, yada yada. No, Tyra May Steele, the more reps she gets, the better it is for her. Even if it's uninvolved, she's on television, she's working on TV. It's okay to tell that she's the LFG representative winner on Evolve. Doesn't mean it's a demotion. It's not that she's not good. Right now, they're building for some stories with the women. Right now, they've got a direction going. They're working with TNA. They're going to put Tyra May Steele. She gets some reps on television, working on TV. Not forgetting, it's good for Tyra May Steele. At the end of the day, they saw something in her. Doesn't mean that she's demoted. She should. Where was she going to fit on the PLE right now? She will be in many PLEs right now. Let's not rush it. Slow and steady. It's not that she's demoted. I see it as a opportunity for her to get more TV reps and more opportunities to work with different talent. Look, heck, Natalia Neidhart is wrestling and involved as well. Rich Holland is down there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Before everybody wants to go to a negative angle with it, where I kind of see it as a positive for her, getting some ring exposure and reps. We're on live television, not just house shows. Mets, sorry that I interrupt. I wanted to hear what was your thoughts there.
Well, I don't really keep tabs on Evolve, to be perfectly honest. But I do agree with you on what you just said, in all honesty. That's about all I can say.
That's fine. But you were going to say something prior to about the whole Tyra May Steele. You were going to? That's what I meant. I can move on. I can move on.
I wasn't going to say.
Let me move on here. Okay, you mentioned about. Let me get this in real quick because I want to hear Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page. The full count anywhere match. To me, these are two guys that I said it on my watch along. To me, it didn't matter who won that match. It could have. If Ricky Saints won, I was great with it. If Ethan Page retained, I was great with it. Ethan Page retained. I love the match where they fought all over the different times. I liked it. I liked that even we saw Jasper Troy in the back was upset of losing that match, and he actually took a little bit out on Ricky Saints. And I like that too, teasing a little breadcrumbs there in the back. All in all, Ethan Page retains. Ricky Saints lost. I didn't think it hurt any of the guys. The match was very entertaining for what it was, and there's storylines built there because for at least Ricky Saints, I don't know about Ego Ethan Page where he goes with that with the title. I don't know. Be honest with you, maybe someone else steps up to the plate. I don't know, but Chris, your thoughts on that there with Ego?
No, it was a good match. No, not too much. Good match between those two. Again, Jasper Troy with the assist. Again, people. I'm not going to say too much about the match because obviously these two guys have good matches every time. Their chemistry is really, really good. I will say about the Jasper Troy thing again, kind of going back to that because he's involved in this, right? When we were talking about how Jasper Troy needs to get wins under his belt, and we're talking about the girl from LFG that won. The men's division needs people like Jasper Troy. No disrespect,
yes.
The women's division in that brand is stacked. There will be a time where a lot of those females are going to get called up. She will make her way in there. But the thing I'm mentioning about that is because for Jasper Troy, when we were talking about he needs, some feuds or some wins under his belt to, rise back up to the top. This is perfect. Him feuding with a talent like Ricky Saints, who's beloved in the Performance Center, well-known, and he can work. This is good for Jasper Troy. So I like that he's still going to be involved in something. And it's not just where does he go from here, because now we can see it. So that's what I got out of the match. The match itself was good, but I like the Jasper Troy involvement because, again, he's the young guy that everyone's going to be looking for in the future when those two guys go to the main roster.
This match was great for me. I mean, I love the carnage, the chemistry between Page and Saints.
Let me ask.
The Jasper Troy thing, I do like that they're teasing that they're going to go, he and Saints are going to go at a heat wave, but the ending kind of terrified me with an Ego's Edge off the stage.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay.
The question is now, who's next in line?
Fair with that.
American title. I mean, I'd say you give Miles Bourne the next North American title shot, or if you can get him away from Charlie.
Maybe that's respect.
Or if you can get him out of the abusive relationship he's in with Charlie Dempsey, give it to Tavian Heights. Okay.
That's a story that they're telling. Let's see how it unfolds on NXT going forward. I'm all ears on that there. And you're right, Chris, with the women. That's why I said with Tyra May Steele to go and evolve. It doesn't hurt her to get some more bumps. They need to build more men.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I wouldn't be surprised if Jasper Troy, if he loses to Ricky Saints, Jasper Troy can't find himself. He's confused. He doesn't know where to go. And I could see Booker T becoming a manager for Jasper Troy in NXT. Yeah. I could see that. He teased it in Reality of Wrestling as being a manager, but I don't know if it hurts his the on-air commentary. I think he could do both. Bobby the Brain Heenan did that at that time, but I don't know if they'll go that route. Wouldn't mind seeing Booker T as his manager. I'm not saying he can't cut a promo, but just his presence when he starts winning some. That's true. So hopefully that goes there. I wanted to talk about Blake Monroe's in-ring debut on NXT, teaming up with Jordan Grace, the Muscle Muffin, taking on Fatal Influence. Blake Monroe looked really good. Didn't lose a step in the ring. I mean, I don't think many people doubted her in ring. It didn't go too long. It was a good match there, setting up there, back and forth. Mets, your thoughts on the ladies in that main event, by the way? So WWE was not afraid of putting them as a main event to close out the show.
For me, this was what it was. It was good, but I felt underwhelming, especially when, again, you're doing a twofold tell. One, you basically spoiled that Jordan is not winning the women's title tonight. And even if you do, what's the point of a face versus face match that we've seen between Masha and Jordan that we've seen plenty of times over in TNA? Heck, I was there with their final match with Jordan's time in the company at WrestleCade last November at Turning Point. On the other hand, you get more intrigue out of JC because much like with the whole deal with Trick and Hendry back in the build-up to Battleground, you basically got the Invader trying to steal the title, and you've got the homegrown talent trying to preserve it. I mean, admittedly, though, Masha didn't really get her start in TNA. Most of her content that I'm familiar with before she joined TNA was in Game Changer.
Yeah, no.
Some people call it Game Changer, some people call it Garbage Can. But okay, Chris.
No, for me, I look. I agree with Mets. It was what it was, and I also agreed with him from the beginning where I think JC Jane's gonna win that match tonight. I don't mean to talk about what's going on tonight with this, but this obviously ties into it. Masha coming out there, or she was there, they showed her, right? Like, unless I missed that.
That was brief. That was so brief.
Right?
I did you say that. Brief. That was super brief. It was a blink of an eye, man.
Yeah. I thought I saw her. I don't want to botch that because I swear I saw her. But
no, they botched it with her appearance. Okay. Oh my god!
I knew I saw something, or I knew I saw her, but again, it wasn't that long, so I didn't know if I saw her. But again, they showed TNA champion Masha Savage for a split second. No, but it was a good match. Obviously, Blake Monroe got the more shine because that was her in-ring debut in front of a big crowd in pay-per-view. So, yeah, it was good for what it was. It was a good way for Blake Monroe to shine. And now we wait till later.
And I agree, Mets. They don't want to do babyface versus babyface. That's not Tommy Dreamer's style of booking when it comes to TNA wrestling. If you know TNA, like us, we watch it. We are the unofficial podcast of the watch along of TNA wrestling. So that's why we are a little bit defensive a little earlier when you mentioned TNA and Ring of Honor. But I'm gonna circle back to what we're talking here. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Jordan Grace returning back to TNA to try to win that TNA Knockouts title with the NXT title, and a Trinity Fatu, aka Naomi, teasing of a cash-in, because even at that, you telling me in the WWE ring at SummerSlam, you got Jordan Grace versus Naomi for those two titles or tease there. I'm not saying she's cashing in, but if they were, That's a great tease, and that's a great match because they did tear it off for TNA Impact at that time. Those matches were really very good. They have great chemistry, they have great friendship, and to see them in the big stage, those two ladies will be great. But I don't know if they'll pull the trigger, guys. I'm not saying they're going that route. That's just me fantasy booking and as a desire. And I want, again, it's just me. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I like that fact of thinking outside the box. Again, she doesn't have to cash in, but you telling me Naomi's music plays at that UBS arena next week just to tease, the place will pop. Like, holy crap, Naomi's.
No, again, I'm not. You said that to me a couple weeks ago, and I didn't look at you crazy because she's been with the company before and she has the history with you know, not Masha, but in the
Masha.
But yeah, because she was there when Masha, you know, they had them whatever, and then Jordan. So I could see it. I'm not. You know, when I say I could see it happening, I'm not going to like, or like question it because you know we talked about it and it makes sense. So yeah, I'm not leaving that at the table.
It makes sense.
We'll
It
have a good
makes
time
sense.
too.
It makes sense.
Selfishly.
As much as that would make sense, for me, that's a bit too far out of left field.
But wrestling is about creating moments and out of left, like you didn't see it. Because in a world where everyone wants to be the first to report it, or everyone wants to spoil it, you know, they know a little bit of a piece of information, or they see someone and they want to copy and paste it, and it gets magnified that he reported this and that, and it gets spoiled. And sometimes you already know the results before you even turn on the event goes live. In a world where you keep that as a secret, and they're like, holy crap, they swerved us, they got us. These bookers, these promoters, these companies want you to talk about them. What a way of talking about no one expecting Trinity, aka Naomi, to. I'm not saying she's gonna cash it in again, ladies and gentlemen. Her music hits and she's running down the ring. She could be stopped by, we don't know, Jade again, Bianca. We don't know what's gonna happen tonight in that match tonight. Anything possible. It could even help build Jade versus Bianca or Naomi, Bianca, whatever for SummerSlam. At a TNA UBS build. I just keep it out there because they're working together. Part of the collaboration is to I help you get over, I'll get you over. Because speaking of that, we saw the contract signing, Mike Santana, Joe Henry, and Trick Williams. When we saw Dark State at the end of the contract signing come out, all in all, I love Mike Santana's promo. He was real. He thought about it. Joe Henry has some good points while I was there. Trick Williams, each men had a great time on the microphone talking us into watching this triple threat. I thought no one outstaged anyone with the word of words, but Santana was a little very, of course, I'm being biased. I felt more compelled because I'm rooting with my heart in my hands for Santana, but I thought all three men talked us into the match. I liked it. And the Dark State stuff, like you said, Chris, to be continued. Could they have an Avengers finish at Slammiversary where the whole TNA locker room is preventing Dark State from evading the company and stopping and trying to get that title
right
away
there.
from
that right there. Yep.
Except for First Class.
Except for First Class. Well said. I agree. No, I agree. Because again, First Class.
They're too buddy with Trick.
Exactly. They're seeming to align themselves a little bit more with with Trick Williams. They have something out against Joe Hendry, especially Santana. So I like where Metz is going on that.
And throwing AJ's former connection with the WWE as top dollar.
Exactly.
Something a lot of people tend to forget.
Yeah. No. I agree.
Also, there's been seeds planted. If you look at the social media from AJ Francis and Casey Navarro questioning AJ Francis in the ladder match, you mean we. Francis is sounding selfish with I. Look at the social media and Navarro questioning him with we. Also, Casey Navarro has been doing a lot of media for TNA for Slammiversary where AJ Francis hasn't much. So maybe that's something that might bleed into the storyline when it comes to that. But they have a chance for winning tag team title in that ladder match. I think that's also going to dictate or tell what's going to happen later on that evening as well. So a lot to unpack there. We're going to get to our Slammiversary review later on in the week with our own video. But I want to wrap up Great American Bash. It was a very good show. For which one?
Slammiversary.
No, we're going to be at the arena.
Oh,
We've
we're
been
gonna
invited
be
by
there.
TNA to
We're
go
gonna
up.
we're gonna be in the arena.
Yeah,
Okay.
you didn't see the interview I have with Carlos Silva on our channel? Me and Chris, we interviewed
I-
Carlos Silva.
Oh, okay, never mind.
All right.
I mean, the next time I'll probably
We'll move on.
then will be Turning Point when we get to WrestleCade in November.
That's gonna be a good event still.
Yes. That's good. Yes. Hopefully we're there. Maybe we might be there. North Carolina. Hopefully we'll see if TNA allows us to be there.
Yeah.
Let's get right into the good show, good pay-per-view. Let's go to Saturday night's main event. Saturday night's main event, of course, is going to be heavy with commercials. We know that. We know that because it's not a WWE product. It's a national broadcast channel thing. It's a broadcast. It's NBC Peacock that tells them you have to commercial break. You have to stop. You have to put a commercial in your event. It's not the WWE. Let's take a freaking commercial. It's the broadcasting partner that requires the companies to take that break. Now, they could buy the slot themselves, but TKO is not going to buy it. Like, this is one thing you got to give All Elite Wrestling their flowers. Khan will buy that commercial-free spot. He will buy it. Instead of running commercial, he'll buy the ad placement to run his show live. That's the difference between the two companies. Now, all in all, the whole Saturday night's main event, what was taken away from it, it wasn't Goldberg's retirement. It was Seth freaking Rollins' injury. The injury where he did the moonsault. Then he did a flip over, and then he did the moonsault that totally looked like a knee injury, a ACL, MCL, or a Achilles. I don't know. It's a leg injury. Don't know the severity of it. We're waiting for reports collectively. I think it totally changed the course of the main event, the outcome, or at least the finish. I don't know. WWE has the next 24 to 48 hours to scramble with their writing teams. They're working overtime because I think they got to right the ship. I think they got to rewrite stuff. Chris, I'm going to go with you, and then I want Mets. Your thoughts on Saturday night, just to Seth Rollins' injury.
Just Seth Rollins' injury, yeah. I had to rewatch it a couple of times because at first I thought he was just selling the injury. But then I later saw that like they had to like cart him out and all that stuff. So I went back and watched it a couple times, and it looked like it could be an ACL. I'm hoping that's not what it is. But when you land because you see it, we see it in basketball. You know, a lot of these basketball players when they're going for a layup or just a simple layup in basketball, and they overextend their knee or they land on their knee. Achilles happen. That's what happened with like Tyrese Halliburton with his Achilles. You know, it happens with your ACL in basketball. So imagine wrestling, trying to do a moonsault like that, landing on it wrong, overextending it. I really hope that's not what it is. But if that is the case, SummerSlam is going to look very, very different. Again, Seth Rollins, like we talked about with Adam Cole, Seth Rollins, all of that matters that, get well soon because, man, he was about to take over WWE in a big way. And the injury is the most important part in recovery. But the reality is SummerSlam is going to look a lot different. So we're going to have to see. It's going to be interesting, next few weeks. It's going to be interesting Monday, especially, this is fresh off it. People are going to want answers. Maybe Seth goes out there and tells them himself. The Money in the Bank, he also has the Money in the Bank. So it's not a good time for this to happen. Again, injuries happen anytime, anywhere in the wrestling business. It's just very unfortunate that this is the time that's taken place.
Okay, in my case, here's what I'm looking. When I watch that again in my own live react on YouTube, here's what I was thinking to myself. At best, he either retore the MCL or dislocated the kneecap. That shouldn't take more than a couple of months at worst of a recovery break. So he'll still be able to hold on to the Money in the Bank contract. Okay. He'll just have to cash it in. We just won't see him until around the time of Crown Jewel at best and Survivor Series at worst. Okay. At worst, I was thinking torn Achilles. But the way but a torn Achilles usually is where your leg goes completely straight in a horizontal rather than a vertical. And Seth was vertical when this happened. And so that screams more A or MCL tear. So that shouldn't take too long for a recovery break. Great. He'll be back within about 6 to 8 weeks at worst.
If it's a torn ACL, he's out for 9 months.
Okay, 9 months. But if it's MCL, 6 to 8 weeks.
Around there. And MCL for you guys, MCL is not as big as an ACL, but yeah, it's still there's still going to be a lot rewriting to do and all that stuff. But yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
But at best, he'll only be gone for a couple of months.
Right. That's what we hope for, at least.
Right. But even the way it's still an injury, regardless, even if it was the worst case scenario, the best case scenario, he has a whole year to cash in that money in the bank. That at the end of the day, that's not going to change. My point is short-term wise, or to keep a storyline going. Here's the one thing I'm going to put out there. Everyone bitched and complained about when they opened up that Monday Night Raw promo and Braun Breaker grabbed the microphone from Paul Heyman's hands and talked first. And, oh, what is he doing? What is Braun doing? I remember even Busted Open complained about it. Now, how does it look now? Looking at hindsight 2020, now that Rollins is hurt, next man up. Wouldn't be surprised if Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker gets elevated and move forward, and you're off and running and putting the rocket ship a little bit early on Braun. But now you look at him grabbing the microphone and going out there and cutting that promo. Looked so fucking awesome with Braun taking the reign. This is I'm not saying it's similar the way Shawn Michaels lost and Triple H came on and cut that promo. I'm not saying that. It's not that level, but it gave you vibes of that. The next man, he didn't drop the ball. Rollins didn't drop the ball, just got hurt. But now it's Braun who could use that to his benefit. And let Heyman do all the talking. And let Braun do all the crazy stuff. Let Heyman do all the talking and set the storyline line. They want to add, I saw online, do they add another member? Could it be Carmelo Hayes? Could it be Austin Theory? Who could, who, be honest with you? No one's going to be like, you're fucking bugging. But you know who could talk on the microphone and could get heat and could talk well? Grayson Waller.
True.
Yeah.
Open mind, people. Have an open. Grayson Waller could fucking talk on that microphone. Who could be a heel, generate the heat, and boy, could he use a little bit of being a heel under Paul Heyman? How to, and get that level of storytelling with his quickness on the mic and becoming that hative person who could take losses for the group if they want in a Grayson Waller, because he can still talk you to want to punch his teeth in, because he can still talk you into it. The same thing I was talking about, All Ego, Ethan Page could be that kind of heel, because even if he takes the loss, when he opens his mouth and he sings you want to beat the shit out of him, no matter how many times you lost. He's the one that earned an ass whipping. I think Grayson Waller's that guy that should be there until Rollins returns. Is it going to be main event level? Maybe not. I'm not saying they're going to be on the top of the card, because when you lose a Seth freaking Rollins, you do take a couple steps back. I understand that, ladies and gentlemen. But for someone who could try to elevate the next level of superstars to a facet group to start ascending on Monday Night Raw, it could be entertaining on the Paul Heyman tutelage, could be a Grayson Waller. I wouldn't mind Melo, but I'm going to be honest with you, those two guys backstage, I don't talk dirt, but I'm going to tell you, they don't get along. Plain and simple.
That's for sure.
Melo and Braun?
Braun. There was been politicking when they were in NXT. We were politicking in NXT when Braun was champion. Behind the back, and I hate to talk dirt. I don't talk dirt. I don't like to talk dirt. But I'm going to be honest with the storyline. Those two guys don't. They don't. There was a lot of politicking between them when Braun was champion. Bark, where it bleed into the audience. For the NXT folks that they didn't, and that's what they turned their back on Braun. That's just me saying it. I'm going to say it. I can't keep my mouth quiet any longer. When it comes to that, everybody wants Melo and Braun. They're not going to work.
And I agree with that.
They're not going to work.
I also would say that if with Rollins down, this is the chance for Braun to go after the world title. I mean, live up to that moniker of unpredictable badass. Let him go after Gunther at SummerSlam instead of giving Jay a rematch that he doesn't need.
They could insert Jay against Gunther. You're right. I agree with you, Max. But Jay is super over right now. That could be inserted. Also, I think personally where they're going with this, they're going to add another member. I think it's going to be MFT, taking on the Heyman group. That's what it looks like to me. That's where it's going. And we talked about Paul Heyman adding another person for the group for Rollins out. Why not Omos? They need someone against Hikuleo, aka Tamaloa. I'm just, doesn't need to talk. Let Heyman do all the talking. You got the mouthpiece in Paul Heyman, but now you need a 7-footer to combat the My Family Tree if they're going that route, Chris. I don't even know if they're going that route. I don't know what WWE's doing. The next 24 to 48 hours is going to be compelling with WWE storytelling and story and book and creative.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Because they can either hit it out of the park or they could flop. And this is where All Elite Wrestling could gather a great audience again. You're talking about feeling restore. If they continue to follow up on Wednesday with good TV, with Hangman and stuff, and WWE is floundering or spinning their wheels, don't know what to do with Rollins' injury. You saw how I said it hurt it when Liv Morgan went down. This is an opportunity now for All Elite Wrestling to get some of those audience members back on track. Get out people to come watch on Wednesdays on a regular basis while the WWE tries to figure itself out and they have spinning wheels on what to do next with their storyline and get people invested and creatively want to grab in to that. So for those that said, you don't watch the AEW product like earlier in the chat, well, here I am telling you, you have a great opportunity to grab more people, audience. So that's what happened over the weekend. Tonight, we're going to have Evolution tonight with the women's. There's a lot of storylines there because it's going to bleed to Slammiversary, also for SummerSlam and tag team champion. Could we see finally Sol Ruka get turned down by Zari after they lose that match? Don't know. What about the dynamics between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss? What's that going on? Roxanne Perez, can she endear herself to the champion Raquel Rodriguez, successfully defending? Can the Kabuki Warriors rekindle that magic and win gold again? So a lot of great storylines there. What are you the most excited about, Mets, about this Evolution, if you are excited for the card?
If I had to pick a match, it would be the 4-way for the women's tag titles. I mean, we've seen Io versus Rhea to death, and the big question is, can Rhea finally win the big one there? Tiffy versus Trish doesn't really interest me because it's yet another attempt at passing the torch, something that failed with Charlotte back in 2019. You already know my feelings on the NXT women's title match. Self-explanatory. The Battle Royal, whatever. I don't care who wins that one. I mean,
okay.
Women's Evolution? This feels like a de-evolution card to me.
Do you, Chris, you agree or disagree? Or what do you like about this?
I mean, I'm not the most excited for. I do think they could have built it a little bit better. I do think this card could have taken place on a whole other weekend to get a weekend dedicated just to the ladies. I don't want to nitpick. I hate doing that shit. I generally do, but maybe they could have. Maybe if they put on their own weekend, and they had maybe a week or two longer to build, maybe people might be more excited for this. But for me, it's going to be obviously self-explanatory. Not just because I will be at the UBS. I want to know who Masha's going to fight in that match. Again, I know it could be unpredictable. Maybe they might want to restore Jordan Grace in there for a big night, like TNA's biggest night. Maybe they want like Mets. Like I agree more with Mets, where I think it's going to be one of those things where JC Jane's going to try to take over TNA, kind of how like Trick is, like a double TNA NXT TNA invasion with both divisions. But I think that could also go another way too. So my pick is JC Jane and Jordan Grace winner takes all at Slammiversary against Masha.
I mean,
all right.
I'm
gonna
go ahead, Mets.
Go ahead, let's go.
I mean, just to really rub salt in the wound of TNA could have helped. WWE could have held this event in somewhere like, say, the Hammerstein next weekend. Instead,
next weekend is Slammiversary.
No, next Saturday.
You're taking away from TNA.
I meant the Saturday before Slammiversary.
That'd be yesterday.
Right.
No,
Saturday,
you're talking about Saturday. The night before.
Oh,
right.
My bad. Yeah. I still think I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what specifically, but if this had its own thing all around it, I think people would be more interested in it. But again, we had a lot of wrestling this week. I don't know. But I'm not gonna say I'm not that interested in it because there are some matches on there that I want to see. Um, I just think you know it's gonna be okay. I don't think it's gonna be better than the first one. The first one was good. I
Here's what I
really enjoyed that first one.
Same with
here's
me.
what I'm gonna disagree a little bit with. I am looking forward for this Evolution card, the whole bill, because here's what happened. What happened on Friday night, and it's not has to do with the wrestling world. In the world of women's combat sports, because wrestling is still combat sport. You had
Oh,
some
Amanda Serrano,
Amanda
Katie Taylor.
Amanda Serrano versus Kato Taylor main event and all women's boxing card at Madison Square Garden to close out Friday night. Saturday you had NXT main event was the two women, the four women in a tag team match with Blake Monroe, Jordan Grace against Fatal Influence, closing that as a main event. That's on Saturday. Then on Sunday, you're going to close out you have a whole all woman pay per view where we're trying to advance we women's sports, supporting women's sport, women wrestling, women combat sports up front and personal. I believe UFC had one of the fight of the nights. I believe I'm asked Austin was one of the women's bouts at the UFC card on Fight Night.
I also heard that.
Yesterday in Nashville. So what's going on right now? And when it comes to women athletics, it's another level that unprecedented than we're seeing here in 2025 and any time of women's sports generational wise. It's not just the United States women's soccer team that's taking the women's sports headline. Now it's boxing, wrestling, MMA, and more.
Even
And
basketball now.
right now, at least for me, even WNBA with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, excuse me, and others. They're just on the forefront of not just women's sport, major sports. So the advancement of the women's sport in general is right now in an uber high. We have to continue to build on it and amplify what women's sports athletics is doing across globally. And the WWEs have that platform. Rather than saying I'm not looking forward to it and this is all woman, I'm not really liking it. I have a total open mind myself. I want to embrace it. I want to enjoy every match on that card tonight. From the women's battle royal, like you said, I don't have a clear-cut favorite to win it. I just want to see who's returning, if there is any returns. I want to see all those ladies get that opportunity on television for that battle royal. That's going to be a nice spot. It'll be cool to see that. The main event, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, one of the two most over women in WWE and professional wrestling, going to be battling it out. Like you said, Chris, implication of Slammiversary when it comes to who's going to go on represent TNA, go try to capture TNA title for the NXT brand. I want to see that. I want to see the women's tag team titles, so forth. I want to celebrate women's sport, supporting it, and women's pro wrestling. You see how we interview the ladies here on our channel, from the independent scene and so forth. So at least me, bias wise, I cannot be more excited to have that there. I'm going to be front loaded, ready to go with our watch along, cheering on the ladies. And they're going to knock it out of the park. So at least from me, I'm here. I'm invested. My heart is 100% into this card. Let me enjoy it then. If it's not your cup of coffee, that's fine. You could go and watch something else different, enjoy. That's fine. But I myself am invested for the women's sports, the women combat. I can't, combat sports, wrestling, and all. I am ready to go. I can't wait to see in the near future other women start getting elevated from the Evolve, from all the different other programs like an Aria Bennett who's killing it and Evolve, for a Tyler May Steele. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So join us tonight where we'll be on live for Evolve. For Evolution on our playback app. Chris, all in all, wrestling is still thriving here in this weekend.
Yeah, all in all, it was a really good weekend of wrestling. We had a lot of good and bad to talk about. Again, that's what's the beauty about doing what we do, is there's a lot to talk about. So overall, good All Elite Wrestling, good job on a really, really good show, your first stadium show. Whether some of the things we both liked or not, all of us here are wrestling fans at the end of the day. And, for the wrestling business, that's incredible for AEW. We want AEW. It might not be our cups of coffee, but that we don't just, we support it, because at the end of the day, all of our that's a place where all of our favorites can go. It's a place where a lot of people enjoy it, and it's still wrestling at a national level. So good job for All Elite Wrestling. Good job for NXT. Having a good pay-per-view there as well on this weekend. And, shout out to the women getting their all pay-per-view, after 8 years, coming again for their second one. I know they're going to all give it their best go. They're all going to be excited for this, and we're going to watch it and talk about it. So I'm really excited. It was a good weekend for wrestling. All the wrestling shows did more good than bad this weekend. So good job.
True.
You know what? True. All the shows did better, something good, positive, more. The pros were bigger than the cons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right, Mets, you want to give your final words so we can, before I run the outro?
I don't really have much else to say except great weekend of wrestling all around so far, but it's been overexhausting. At least now we get something to cleanse the palate and then flush the weekend down the drain, so to speak, with Evolution tonight.
Yeah, I think Evolution's going to be one of those shows where it's like, let's just watch it. I don't think it's going to be like, I hope it's not too criticized. I think it's going to, tonight's just one of those shows where we can just watch it. Oh, that happened. Oh, whatever. I think it's one of those chiller shows tonight, which is always good to look forward to. So I think the ladies are going to be really excited, and I know the people there are going to be excited. People watching are going to be excited. So it's a great weekend for wrestling, man. Beautiful weekend for wrestling. And then next week we'll be enjoying our weekend of wrestling. So.
Indeed. With that said, we want to thank everyone for joining us. We appreciate all the likes, all the subscribers, everyone in the chat. We could agree to disagree, but we could agree on this. Don't let life pin you. Always kick out. Always get yourself over. And may the sports be with you. We'll see you next time. Que Dios me lo bendiga. Peace out. Thank you, Mets.